It is my immense pleasure to announce that the parties today have reached an agreement on an interim joint ceasefire, which will be put into effect upon the approval and signing of the guidelines and ground rules. They have further agreed on the following objectives: to generate goodwill and trust in the peace process, to encourage the forging of a more stable and comprehensive joint ceasefire agreement, and to provide an enabling environment for eventual and early signing of the comprehensive agreement on social and economic reforms. The guidelines and ground rules shall be formulated by the respective ceasefire committees and include A. Rules governing the presence of armed units and the creation of buffer zones. B. An agreement on prohibited, hostile, and provocative acts. And C. Monitoring and verification mechanisms. The parties further agree on the following: matters regarding a single governmental authority and taxation shall be discussed and resolved in forging the comprehensive agreement on political and constitutional reforms within the framework of the proposed Federal Republic of the Philippines. We will soon proceed to the signing of this agreement, but before we do so, there will be statements from both sides. So let us start with Secretary Jesus Dureza.
Thank you for calling me Jesus. Good afternoon, everyone. This is another step closer to our dream. There are still many steps that we have to work on, but this is a very important step. As we know, we can sign many agreements on paper, but what we see in actuality on the ground is what matters most. And it is there in the ground that we are faced with a lot of challenges. That's the reason why, one of the reasons why we have entered into this is really to start already making the public and all the groups that are on the ground go with us in our final destination of having just and lasting peace in the country. I say again, there was a lot of work here. We congratulate the two ceasefire committees that had worked with this. But the work actually has just begun, because how we are going to see this implemented on the ground and amongst our own two sides is what will actually matter. So congratulations to all, and let's, as I always say, let's all stay the course. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'll give the floor to you now, Professor Jose Maria Siso.
Her Excellency, Special Envoy to the Philippine Peace Process, Elizabeth Slaughter, and the ceasefire negotiators on both sides. I'm elated by the result of the negotiations on ceasefire, and I would like to congratulate those who have succeeded in making the agreement on joint ceasefire agreement on the joint ceasefire. This will go a long way in building trust and confidence and generating the atmosphere for the accelerated advance of negotiations on social and economic reforms, and then political and constitutional reforms. I think the negotiators were wise and flexible enough to make provision for what some people expected would break up the negotiations. You know, when we reach the stage of discussing political and constitutional reforms we cannot avoid, considering the attributes and functions of what may be a single governmental authority. And I think I have indicated in advance that if we co-found the Federal Republic of the Philippines, if GRP and NDFP would co-found the Federal Republic of the Philippines, then there's no question of surrendering to a pre-existing government. We are going to make big changes through social, economic, political, and constitutional reforms. So that's it. It's within this year, at the latest, we can have the two agreements. That is all that I can say. I would like to thank the ladies and gentlemen of the press for coming over to report on this highly significant event.
Thank you. Secretary Bello, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Your Excellency, my esteemed friend, Chairman Fidel, and the other members of the NDF panel, and of course, the Venerable Joma Sison. In behalf of my presidential advisor, Secretary Teresa, and my four very young members of the GRP Peace Panel, I wish to thank the Ceasefire Committee for coming up with a very brilliant, well-crafted interim ceasefire agreement. This is a major breakthrough in our peace process. After 30 years of talking, finally, we did something significant to move the process forward. Hopefully, this will significantly move the process to its logical conclusion, and that is lasting peace for our country. To our friends in media, thank you for your curiosity. And to everyone here, let's thank the Royal Norwegian government for patiently following this process, and hopefully they will bring us together in an atmosphere of peace. Thank you and good afternoon.
Thank you. Mr. Fidel Akawili, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Ambassador Slatum, Secretary Teresa, Secretary Bello, and my good friends in the GRP panel, and of course, Joma Sison and the members of my panel, as well as Senior Advisor Luis Elandoni, and everyone. Well, it was really a difficult 3 days. It was touch and go for a while, on both sides, I think. But the NDFP really exercised maximum flexibility without abandoning principles to be able to come out with an agreement. We agreed to make a joint interim agreement, no? That is what is being signed now. But I think it's a big step. At least we have defined the road forward in making our bilateral ceasefire agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. And also we as third-party facilitators would like to congratulate the parties for showing a lot of flexibility and creativity and for making this important step on the road to peace. So we'll now proceed to the signing of this agreement, and I would kindly request that the ceasefire committees and technical committees come and stand behind us to witness the signing.
Hindi kasama si ano. Dapat hindi kasama si Pancho.
Okay na.
Side lang natin.
Ini-initialan ng page
4 hours more.
Wala na yung ano, natalo tayo sa wala na lang.
Just lang photo of
Ray, ikaw mag-cordon.
Pwede tumawid sa buffer zone yung third party eh.
Buffer zone.
Sisibringan nyo nga.
Hindi counted sa exclusion zone yung third party. Visible participation.
Yung isa na kay Joe.
Hindi, pero ibibigay mo isa kaya na eh.
Ito ni ate. Ito ni ate. Kay ni Bebo.
Fidel.
Hindi, bigyan mo si Elizabeth.
Hindi nilalayo.
Lalayo. Dapat i-cordon si Joma.
Yung buffer zone.
Buffer zone.
Yung cautious dyan sa buffer zone.
Buffer zone.
Buffer zone, buffer zone.
Buffer zone si Joe.
Kay Joe.
Nagpayo.
Excellent. So, dear friends, it is my immense pleasure to announce that the parties today have reached an agreement on an interim joint ceasefire, which will be put into effect upon the approval and signing of the guidelines and ground rules. They have further agreed on the following objectives: to generate goodwill and trust in the peace process, to encourage the forging of a more stable and comprehensive joint ceasefire agreement, and to provide an enabling environment for eventual and early signing of the comprehensive agreement on social and economic reforms. The guidelines and ground rules shall be formulated by the respective ceasefire